We're back to Neil Haley's show, and I cannot believe it. Army versus Navy again Saturday at Gillette Stadium, 2023. And I have with me Rich DeMarco, the play-by-play announcer of the Army Black Knights, and Pete Medhurst of the Navy Midshipmen. Hey guys, beat the Army now. Anchors away as I'll talk about my whole background. My father, and I'm going to go right to the kind of story to Pete. My father graduated from the Navy Academy. He passed away 4 or 5 years ago. 1949, he was number 2 in the Naval Academy in his class, and he pretty much had me grow up being a Navy fan. We Pitt, Navy, and Colorado were my teams, and I would go always to that tradition, going down to watch Navy play. I remember Napoleon McCallum, all those different stories. It's such a tradition, isn't it? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Napoleon McCallum had one of the greatest games in the history of this rivalry at the Rose Bowl. Navy won that game 42-3. Navy achieved this ring right here by beating Pitt 2015 Military Bowl, dominated Aaron Donald and company in that game with Keenan Reynolds. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been a joy to be a part of this program, and certainly hope you're very proud of your father. I mean, you're number 2 in order of merit at the Naval Academy. You're doing something pretty spectacular, considering the best and brightest show up on the doorsteps of both of these incredible institutions.
Absolutely. And let's kind of just jump into Rich with, again, the tradition of Army and how they are starting to dominate this game. Why is that Army's starting to win more than Navy for years after Navy dominated for probably 13 plus years?
I'd probably stop short saying dominate. Army has won 5 out of the last 7, but it's all been close wins for Army. And I think after the 14-year run by Navy, things were due to shift a little bit at some point. And Jeff Monken, what he's done, transformational at Army in his 10th year, and really going for what would be his 6th win over Navy in those 10 years. So from where Army was to where Jeff Monken's brought them, a truly night and day. But tough to say domination. I think this is now truly an even up rivalry like it should be. So
Pete, what do you think made it get even up after so many years that Navy was doing so well in the rankings in college football, getting major pretty good bowl games, things like that? What do you think happened?
I mean, I think Army hired Jeff Monken. Jeff was an assistant at Navy with Paul Johnson, who's one of the great triple option gurus in the history of the sport. And Jeff brought that triple option offense to West Point. He started getting better players, started going down in the South and grabbing more speed. And that's where Navy for years had really thrived. And Jeff started getting some of those kids to show up at West Point. And by getting better talent, being well coached, they started winning more of these games. So it's a real simple formula. First of all, you're getting a great education. This game comes down to Jimmy's and Joe's. You go out and get some Jimmy's and Joe's that can play the game, then you're going to have a much better chance. Jeff Monken went and got better talent, coached that talent incredibly well with the great staffs that they've had through the years. And as Rich said, you don't really have a rivalry unless both teams are winning. And that's starting to happen now in this rivalry, which I think even ratchets the drama up even more between these two teams, because both teams do know and feel they have a chance to win. And I think during the winning streak that Navy had, I think Army hoped that they would win, but I'm not sure they had a true conviction that they would win on many of those Saturdays, and the results bore that out. But Jeff went and got better talent, and they're a much stronger program now.
Now, Rich, the thought process, do you think Army's going to win this on Saturday?
Oh, of course I do. I think they're going to win. I think they'll hit a field goal in the final several plays of the game. You look, Army's last 2 seasons have ended on game-winning field goals by 2 different kickers who are both still on the Army roster. Cole Talley in the Armed Forces Bowl over Missouri back in 2021. And, of course, Quinn Moretsky, double overtime in last year's Army-Navy game in Philadelphia.
Now, Pete, how does it feel to be part of this, right, this tradition? How many years have you been covering it? And how, like, just who's who that end up showing up at this game, and now going to different stadiums. It was always played in Philadelphia for so many years, but now going to different stadiums and different things, and see the glitz and glamour of this game, and all America's watching.
You know, I mean, look, I grew up 25 minutes from the Naval Academy, and since the age of 5, all I've wanted to do is be a broadcaster. And the fact that, you know, I am broadcasting Navy's games. I've had handshakes with multiple presidents of the United States, incredible world leaders, people who make important Department of Defense decisions, people who knew my name when they came back the next year. I didn't have to reintroduce myself to them. And, for a kid from Southern Anne Arundel County who grew up in the shadows of the Naval Academy, it's kind of overwhelming to me. I get filled with emotion when I think about the fact that, my color commentator colleagues, Joe Miller, who went to the same high school as I did at Southern High, and Keith Mills, who went to Brooklyn Park High School in Anne Arundel County. We're Anne Arundel County guys through and through, and we're the broadcast crew for the United States Naval Academy now. And that's just, when you think of the enormity of that, and Rich and I have talked about this before because we're radio junkies, man. We're radio lifers. And you think about the icons that have broadcasted this game in some way, shape, or form, and to know that, our names are on that list now, it's kind of overwhelming when you think about it, that you're a part of this incredible rivalry and so many people past and obviously and present and future that will participate in this rivalry and continue to carry the banner for just a tremendous football game. And I'm glad that the people of Boston have seen fit, 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party coming up. This area has been rich in tradition of American history, and now it gets to host this incredible game, thanks to the folks at USAA as well, with their tremendous sponsorship that have allowed this game to become a business entity. And as I said earlier, this area is going to thrive during this week. The hotels for hours away are packed with people that they would not normally have on the second week in December. So it's turned out to be a real opportunity for growth here this weekend in New England.
So let's talk about this really quickly, Pete. Your fondest memory, and then I'm going to go to Rich, of covering this game.
For me, the fondest memory is Malcolm Perry, 2019, runs for 300 yards. That put him over 2,000 for the season. You think of all the great players that have played in this game, going all the way back, to the 30s and the 40s. I mean, it's been a who's who of college football. Malcolm Perry had one of the greatest days in the history of college football, and arguably the greatest day in the history of this rivalry. And being able to describe that excitement to the people as he was doing that, that's something that I'll remember for a long, long time.
How about you, Rich?
2016, Army broke the streak. Ahmad Bradshaw scoring what was the game-winning touchdown. The Cadets storming the field. There will not be, I'm going to go out on a limb, there will not be anything that could possibly top that, because there'll never be a 14-game run by either team. It's so remote, the chances of that happening, and Army breaking the streak the way they did it. That is number one and going to be number one for a long time.
All right. And so, Rich, how many years have you been covering this?
This is my 20th Army-Navy game.
Wow. And how about you, Pete?
This is my 26th year with Navy Athletics and my 11th now as the full-time play-by-play man. Before that, I was the sideline guy. So I've got 16 of these as a radio broadcaster under my belt.
Well, that's fantastic. So when I think about specifically this game and everything, Rich gave his prediction. Pete, you're going to say Navy's going to win, right?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to say Army by 3 touchdowns in this game. Yeah, I mean, look, the pattern tells us it's going to be a close game. I'm hoping that, Nathan Kirkwood gets to kick one between the big H out here behind us, and Navy can come away with a dramatic victory and sing second coming up here on Saturday.
And Rich, the winner probably will get a bowl game, right? That's usually how it works. Neither 5 and 6. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, neither team will be headed to a bowl game. Bowl bids went out last week, and neither had the requisite wins. So, hey, this is the bowl game, right? This is the biggest game of the year. Might as well end the season with a game like this. So one team will have the last moment of its season be euphoria. The other one, disappointment.
All right. Thanks again for stopping by. Saturday, what time's kickoff?
Just after 3 o'clock.
All right. Tune in. Appreciate it, guys. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.